A warm welcome to all our participants in this last event of the Market Access for Digital Entrepreneurs in 2022. My name is Malembe Mtsweni. I'm the Acting Senior Manager Incubation within the SEDA Technology Program, which is a division of SEDA. Today's event is all about the potential of the fourth industrial revolution and how entrepreneurs can spot new opportunities in it. Before I tell you more about the exciting program today, I would like to acknowledge our partners and give you some background to the series of events. As you know, SEDA funds over 120 odd incubators in South Africa. A lot of these are incubators that are helping accelerate the development of digital products and services. The Market Access for Digital Entrepreneurs series is extension of supporting the journey for digital entrepreneurs. The 10 events that have taken place so far since mid-2021 have been packed with case studies, insider advice, market info, business strategies, and practical tools. Would like to thank the EU who has funded this project along with incubator support, as well as the EDSE who has assisted organizing the events. We're talking about the 10 made events that have already taken place. This is the 11th one. Today's event is the result of the new collaboration with the University of Johannesburg Institute for Future of Knowledge. A warm welcome to the MADE initiative. So what can you look forward to in today's event? As we all know, in the last 2 decades, technology and information have combined to create innovation and new efficiencies worldwide. Experts argue that opportunities created by the knowledge economy are unique to each country, as they are steeped in each place's history, culture, environment, potential, and resources. Today, we are talking about how South African entrepreneurs position themselves to take advantage of the opportunities created by the knowledge economy within the era of the fourth industrial revolution. The first part will be from Professor Arthur Mutambara, who will talk about the boundaries, key drivers, and the growth areas of the knowledge economy in the fourth industrial revolution era, and the expanding knowledge of economy within the 4IR in Africa in particular. After that, Dr. Kaziboni will talk about where the opportunities are in the knowledge economy globally and on the African continent, new sectors and case studies. During the second part of the event, we will have a brief Q&A session after both presentations, and we'll go into the panel discussion on how entrepreneurs can take advantage and spot new opportunities in the digital economy. The discussion will be facilitated by Dr. Scott Timke, Senior Research Associate at Research ICT Africa. And now I would like to introduce you to today's speakers. As I mentioned, we are privileged today to be collaborating with the University of Johannesburg Institute for Future Knowledge. The first speaker, as I said, will be Prof. Arthur Mutambara. He's a world-renowned roboticist, academic, author, and technology strategist. He has a PhD in robotics and mechatronics and an MSc in computer engineering, both from Oxford University, serves as executive director and full professor of the Institute for the Future of Knowledge at the UJ. Dr. Anthony Kaziboni is a head of research at the Institute for the Future of Knowledge at UJ. He researches social inequalities, the major problem we have in our country, policy and innovative technologies by empowering emerging and existing social entrepreneurs. Prof. Mutambara, can I ask you to put up your presentation and comments?
Thank you very much for that introduction. My topic today is claiming a place in the knowledge economy, leveraging the fourth industrial revolution. So my key issue is, do we understand the fourth industrial revolution? How do we leverage it to take advantage of the opportunities that are in the knowledge economy? That's what I'm going to go through, and then we'll say more during the panel discussion. So in terms of outline, we'll look at the definition. What is the knowledge economy? What is the fourth industrial revolution? And what is the impact of the fourth industrial revolution on the knowledge economy? And what are some of the interesting new things? And then we'll conclude an understanding of the boundaries, key drivers, growth opportunities in the knowledge economy in the fourth industrial revolution. So when we're done today, we must have an understanding of the boundaries, understanding of the key drivers, and understanding the growth opportunities in the knowledge economy. We must have a way of expanding the knowledge economy in Africa. We must have a way of understanding where the growing sectors are, and also the key skills and knowledge required to take advantage of those opportunities. But more specifically, can we spot the potential? Can we seize the opportunity? That's what we think we seek to do. And the overriding theme, is already articulated, is how do South African entrepreneurs position themselves to take advantage of the opportunities created by the knowledge economy within the context of the fourth industrial revolution? That is the theme of our discussion today. Now, when we say knowledge economy, that's a very old idea. It's a very old concept coming from Peter Drucker in 1966, but more actively in the last 20 years. An economy in which growth is dependent on the quality and accessibility of the information available. The economy depends on the quality and accessibility of the information available rather than the means of production. Remember, in the past, we used to talk about the means of production, land, labor, and capital. No, we are now saying the means of information as opposed to the means of production. An economic system that relies more heavily on intellect and intellectual capabilities rather than physical inputs or natural resources. Instead of traditional inputs, we're talking about big data now, automation, and robotics and AI. So we must understand what's new under the knowledge economy. It's information, quality of information, it's artificial intelligence, as opposed to the traditional understanding around the means of production, land, labor, and capital. Now we're saying, what is the means of information? The question again is, how do South African entrepreneurs position themselves to take advantage of these opportunities as they are created? Okay, and now we say, what is the key issue in the knowledge economy? Intangible assets, especially proprietary technology. The IT and ICT industries are the engines of economic growth, not mining, not land. New and old industries are driven by AI and robotics. Collaboration, exchange, and competition between researchers. It is characterized by clusters, what you call cluster development, where you say a cluster, for example, Silicon Valley, that's a technology cluster. New York, that's a finance cluster. London, finance cluster. Detroit, car cluster. Germany, car cluster. So that's what's new under the knowledge economy, the notion of clusters, where we are now saying, what are the supporting industries to drive the cluster? Okay? Technology and information combined to create innovation and new efficiencies worldwide. opportunities created by the knowledge economy differ in each country, but there are lessons to be learned from country to country. 4AR technologies have become critical in fostering socio-economic development in disadvantaged communities of the global south. Technology is an equalizer. Some people might say, oh, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are technologies of the north. No, in fact, our poverty, our lack of infrastructure can be an opportunity to leapfrog. A good example is wireless telephony. When you say M-Pesa, banking on the phone, when you say EcoCash, banking on the phone, that's global best practice. There's nothing in Japan, nothing in America that is as good as M-Pesa. So if we look very carefully at some of these technologies, you find that there's an opportunity for us to leapfrog from where we are to the knowledge economy, to the fourth industrial revolution. In terms of framework, this is what we seek to do. We must make sure that we don't forget the traditional things. Yes, the fourth industrial revolution is a driver, but also for us to succeed as Africans, we must think in terms of continental integration, political unity. We must think in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. And so the fourth industrial revolution is just one pillar. And once we bring the three together, we can then identify the opportunities and then seize the opportunities. The continental integration gives us scale because South Africa is too small in economy. Nigeria is too small in economy. When we talk about 1.4 billion Africans, that's an economy. China, 1.3 billion people, that's an economy. India, 1.2 billion people. We must not address this subject within a national context because numbers do make a difference. And then this is the framework in which we seek to understand the role of the fourth industrial revolution. And of course, we must have a vision, what we want in terms of the knowledge economy, which is being driven by the fourth industrial revolution. Once we are clear about that house on the top of the hill, which is our vision, then we must structure the strategy and then be very clear on implementation, prioritization, sequencing, implementation matrix, who's going to do what, and so on. We need to have a method to the madness of the fourth industrial revolution by having a vision of what we want and a strategy to take us where we want to go, but more importantly, clarity on how we're going to do it. Just briefly, let's make sure we define this thing that we call the fourth industrial revolution. What do we mean by the fourth industrial revolution? We need to make sure we are clear on this subject. It's a global or embracing technology transformation which alters the way individuals, institutions, and communities operate. The scale and scope and speed is what makes it a revolution. It's impacting all disciplines, all economies, and all industries. It is redefining the very meaning of humanity. It is sweeping across industries, disrupting every industry. So which means whatever opportunities were existing in the knowledge economy, they're being disrupted by the fourth industrial revolution. They're being redefined by the fourth industrial revolution. Just for context, the first was water and steam. The second was electric power. The third was electronics and information technology. Now we are in the fourth industrial revolution, which builds on electronics and information technology. You can see that already under the third industrial revolution, there was a knowledge economy there. That's what we're saying. We need to understand what's different now when we're dealing with the fourth industrial revolution, building on the digital revolution of the past. Why a revolution? The velocity of the changes. Why a revolution? The scope of the changes. Why a revolution? The system's impact. And in particular, the growth of AI and machine learning and other 4AR technologies and their extensive applications. What do we mean by these technologies? We're talking about artificial intelligence. And I will not define these things. We can talk about these things in our discussions. Intelligent algorithms, augmented reality, human augmentation, big data, Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, nanotechnology, autonomous vehicles, drones, and driverless cars. These are the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. The question is, how are they reshaping the knowledge economy? How is the knowledge economy different? Remember, the knowledge economy is about 20 years old, but these technologies are 5 years, some of them very recent, and they're redefining the knowledge economy. So what are the opportunities? 3D printing, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, robotics and mechatronics, quantum computing, cloud computing, blockchain technology, cryptocurrency. All these new technologies are really defining the knowledge economy. What are the new opportunities? How does it present itself to us, and how can we take advantage of those opportunities? Just brief definitions which we can go through our discussions. We must understand what we mean by artificial intelligence. It's intelligence that's in a machine, in contrast to natural intelligence. AGI, that's more complex than AI. AGI, this is now generalized intelligence in a machine, a harder concept. Machine learning, okay? Let's understand this and see how it shapes our knowledge economy. Deep learning, robotics and mechatronics, the intelligent connection of perception to action. If we're going to take advantage of the fourth industrial revolution, if we're going to leverage the fourth industrial revolution, we must understand what these technologies mean. We must understand what we mean by navigation path planning, which is carried out by robots. We must understand what we mean by intelligent algorithms, because this will then sharpen our understanding and make us ready to utilize and leverage the technologies. Big data, this is changing the knowledge economy. The way we had nanotechnology, 10 power minus 9, where you're designing micro vehicles, designing a suit which you never have to wash using nanotechnology. These are the drivers of the changes in the knowledge economy. Expert systems, Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, augmented reality, all these things must be understood. What we mean by mechatronics, we're saying it's no longer enough to say I'm an electrical engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer. You must understand everything because they're interrelated. So mechatronics sits in the middle of control electronics, digital systems, computer science, mechanical. We are saying that you must have an understanding of coding, an understanding of electrical machines, an understanding of mechanical dynamics, an understanding of software for you to be effective. So that's what we're pushing under mechatronics. And human augmentation, people might say, are we saying now robots are going to replace human beings? No, no. What we want is a combination of the person and the robot, a combination of the machine and the human being, what we call human augmentation, human 2.0. This is the future where the machine and the person are working together, not against each other. And we call it human augmentation. And what are the new opportunities under human augmentation within the knowledge economy? And I'm sure when Anton speaks, we will identify some of those opportunities that are unique to the fourth industrial revolution. Okay. Now, there are also fears. Can we build a machine that shows human emotions, empathy, shame, embarrassment, love, sympathy? Can we build that in a machine? Can we build a machine that has emotional intelligence, a machine that has cultural intelligence, a machine that has intentionality? By intentionality, we're saying a machine that can defy the programmer, a robot that will say, today I'm not going to follow your instructions because I don't want to, because I have intention. I have a mind of my own. Can we build a mind of our own in a machine, intentionality in a machine? Can we build a machine that says, I think, therefore I am? Of course, not yet, but it's work in progress. Then the issue of superintelligence. By superintelligence, we're saying, can we build a machine that is more intelligent, more capabilities than the most intelligent human being? Again, we've not done that yet. But when we do that, then there could be a problem, because if we're domesticating cats and dogs because we're smarter than them, the smarter robot can also domesticate us as human beings. But we haven't gotten there. But those are the dangers of the field of robotics. Also have an understanding of what we call hard AI problems, so that we understand what that means to us. You know, the interesting thing is COVID. COVID has been an accelerator. COVID has allowed us to adopt technologies much faster. I mean, of course, COVID has led to lots of deaths and disruption of our lives. But on the other side, it has been a major driver in terms of adoption of technology. Right now, we are in a hybrid event. The future is hybrid now. There will be no more events where you are only in person. If you are in person, there's a hybrid. If you are online, there's someone in person. So this is a game changer. COVID has been a game changer. We're not going back to a pre-COVID situation. And also, you know, there's this notion of new normal. That's a wrong way of thinking about it. We must now think about what's called the next normal. What does next normal mean for the knowledge economy? Why are we saying next normal as opposed to new normal? There are waves of unrelenting changes. There's ever-changing environment, constant battle for survival. With constant changes, we neither know nor agree on the new normal. Today's new normal is not tomorrow's new normal. Hence, a new normal becomes a misnomer. A next normal is a better way of thinking about the future. We are in the next normal. It's a more dynamic and transient perspective, which allows us to factor in changes. More appropriate phrase in an ever-changing environment. Now, what does the next normal mean to the knowledge economy? The knowledge economy of the past 20 years is now different because we're now operating in what's called the next normal. Not new normal, next normal, okay? And we are saying there are new notions now. People that were training, people that are in companies that are getting training, are they employable? We're moving away from full-time or long-term employment to employability, to entrepreneurship and innovation. No longer saying, I got a BA, I'm a BSc, I'm a PhD. Show me what you can do. What capabilities do you have? What skills do you have? For you to take advantage of the knowledge economy, you can't just show us a certificate. Your BA, your MA, your MSc, your PhD, not interested. Show me your skills. Show me your capabilities. And also continuous learning now. The day you stop learning is the day you die. These are the new values of the knowledge economy under the fourth industrial revolution. Show me what you can do, and the day you stop learning is the day you die. We are learning differently now. We're pushing what we call blended learning, learning how to learn, mastering how to think, acquiring problem-solving capabilities, structured thinking, transdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity, cross-disciplinarity, an engineer who understands biology, an engineer who understands the Constitution, an engineer who understands philosophy, a lawyer who can do coding, and a lawyer who can do economics, a lawyer who can analyze art. So we are pushing for what we call the Renaissance woman. The Renaissance woman, only the Renaissance woman, only the Renaissance man can take advantage of the knowledge economy, because we're looking for different skills now. We're looking for transdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity, cross-disciplinarity. This is a new world which is being driven by the fourth industrial revolution in the knowledge economy. Your traditional engineer will not cut it. Your traditional biologist won't cut it. Your traditional lawyer will not make it under the fourth industrial revolution. All this must be anchored in what we call a multidisciplinary ecosystem. And we are creating, as I've said, the Renaissance man and woman. That's what we want. We also want to make sure that our students become job creators as opposed to workers. We want to make sure they create industries. We must produce entrepreneurs. We must produce job creators, not just workers. That is what is required if we're going to take advantage of the knowledge economy. We must think about knowledge production. How many patents have we produced at UP, at UJ, at UCT? How many patents? How many companies have you produced from your university? This is what we need in the knowledge economy that is driven by the fourth industrial revolution. The metaverse is going to be as important as the internet. Right now, if you're not the internet, you're not alive. In future, if you're not in the metaverse, you are not alive. This is a virtual reality space in which users interact with computer-generated environment and other users. Where you create a digital twin of an industrial plant, where you can operate a plant from offshore by having a digital twin of the plant. This is the bold world of the metaverse. What does the metaverse mean for the knowledge economy? How do you leverage the metaverse as you seek opportunities in the knowledge economy? That's what we need to be thinking about. AI-driven predictive and preventative plant maintenance, AI-driven asset management, AI-driven building management systems, maintenance, power, connectivity. All these things are done in the digital world for a physical plant. If you're not in the metaverse, you will not be alive in the future. In the same way that if you're not on social media, if you're not on the internet, you are not alive in the year 2022. In 5-10 years' time, the metaverse will be as important as the internet. What does this mean for the knowledge economy? Okay, and we now have companies that are creating new jobs. The meta software engineer, the code manager, the smart contract lawyer. All these are new jobs that are being created in the knowledge economy, which were not existent 5 years ago. Okay, and so we are pushing for several interesting areas of research. For example, data science across disciplines, decentralized artificial intelligence and controls, metaphysics and machines, future of health and industrialization. These are some of the things we are doing ourselves as we try to sharpen our students and our university to prepare for the knowledge economy. Law and technology, digital sovereignty. Who owns the data that you have on your machine? Do you control it? The future of work or work of the future, AI and medicine, climate change and 4IR, new ontology, a unified AI theory of everything. All these research areas feed into the knowledge economy and change it and create new opportunities. Okay, the future of work, we can talk about that in our discussions. So what we're emphasizing today is it cannot be business as usual in the knowledge economy. The knowledge economy as a concept is about 20 years old. What's new now is the 4th industrial revolution with new technologies. So these new technologies will create new opportunities in the knowledge economy. We must understand these technologies so that we can spot opportunities and seize opportunities, and doing so cannot be business as usual. We must, however, not forget about the fundamentals. We must have good governance in the country. We must have good governance in Africa. We must have continental integration so that we live with scope and scale. We must have innovative people. We must have entrepreneurship. The 4th industrial revolution is one of 3 pillars. Once we use those 3 pillars, we can then be able to identify opportunities and seize opportunities in the knowledge economy. And all this is done by understanding the technologies of the 4th industrial revolution, by leveraging technologies of the 4th industrial revolution so that we can make a difference. But in doing this, let us be clear about our vision for the knowledge economy. Let us be clear about what we're going to do to unlock value from the knowledge economy. But more importantly, implementation, implementation, implementation. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Prioritization, sequencing, and also who is going to do what, when are they doing it, how do you measure success, what are the milestones for success, how do you feed back into the system. So we need a method to the madness of harnessing opportunities from the 4th industrial revolution, and in particular, the knowledge economy, which is dependent on it. I want to stop there so that we have more time for discussions, and also after Dr. Anthony Katoni's presentation. But I want to stop there so that we have more of a discussion, and I'll be able to say more during the discussion. I thank you very much.
That was really insightful and very interesting. But as we said that we are not going to take questions now, we go straight to Dr. Kaziboni. Dr. Kaziboni, please come through.
My name is Anthony Kaziboni. I'm head of research at the Institute for the Future of Knowledge. I work very closely with Professor Mtamba. Prof, thank you so much for a refreshing presentation. You gave, I think, what I really liked the most, an overview of the kind of issues we'll be grappling with. To the audience, whom I believe are digital entrepreneurs, please mark the number 60. 60% of South Africa's youth are unemployed. South Africa has a Gini coefficient, which is above 60, makes it very high, and it's the most unequal country in the world. And Joburg as a city is the most unequal city in the whole world. Close to 60% of the population lives in poverty. So 60 is an important figure. And 60 is why we're having this discussion around the knowledge economy and the youth innovation and how to leverage that opportunity. At the Institute for the Future of Knowledge, we are interested in, as you would have noted from Prof. Mtambara's presentation, innovative research. And this is interdisciplinary research, which is aligned to the 4IR. We are interested in leveraging 4IR technologies in the pursuit of the realization of the United Nations SDGs. So this is about ending poverty, hunger, water, improving access to water and ensuring decent work. In this session, we are saying, let's open up a conversation regarding how to not only identify opportunities, but to create opportunities in the knowledge economy within the context of the fourth industrial revolution. Where technologies can catapult innovation and entrepreneurship, thereby addressing some of these issues I've raised: unemployment, inequality, as well as poverty. And as South Africa it's an advanced country, and for innovation and entrepreneurship, again, can address the challenges that particularly the youth are facing. So, where are the opportunities? Who are digital entrepreneurs? I'm talking to you, Max, from the Eastern Cape. I'm talking to you, Tlokwe, Monde Daniel. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, Odette and Amos. So this is someone who's trying to find a way to create, sell, or deliver products or services using digital technologies. This is somebody who's looking to harnessing the reach and the power of the internet in order to offer products and services. The digital entrepreneurship-based businesses rely on two important aspects: IT and the knowledge of conventional business. These two are intricately linked. What we will discuss today are, how to identify opportunities, but it lies on the entrepreneur to capacitate and equip themselves with the necessary skills in the end to see an opportunity when it is before them. There are generally two broad categories of digital entrepreneurs: research-based entrepreneurs that commercializes original technological discoveries, as well as imitative entrepreneurs that develop present markets by assembling available organizational resources. So in the end, the digital economy is suffering, as digital entrepreneurs are intensifying rivalry. So if we are not prepared enough, we end up scuffling for the few opportunities that are there. But we need digital entrepreneurs who are extremely vigilant, who are extremely skilled, who understand the 4IR landscape in order to maximize and create opportunities for themselves. So the internet is extremely important. The internet is extremely important. I cannot overemphasize this. South Africa's internet quality remains the best on the continent. And this is according to one study. And the country is ranked 66 out of 117 countries, showing that there is, to an extent, a broader coverage. Looking at the figure themselves, about 40 million people in South Africa are active internet users. So for digital entrepreneurs, this may seem like a lot. However, there is still a significant digital divide in the country. And there are extensive efforts to ensure that the general populace can get access to the internet. Prof. Mtambara has given an overview of the kind of technologies we'll be talking about: AI, machine learning, deep learning, Internet of Things, big data, blockchain, robotics, 3D, 4D printing, and how these are extremely important in creating opportunities and maximizing opportunities for digital entrepreneurs. For our linked technologies such as AI and machine learning, Internet of Things, and big data, all of this, there are also disruptive technologies that are transforming societies. The fourth industrial revolution is characterized by fusion of the digital, the biological, and the physical worlds. And the changes that are anticipated are profound, they're astronomical. And the mastery of ICT applications and tools can significantly, propel an entrepreneur in the right direction. And as noted, the fourth industrial revolution is uniquely different from the other ones. So the financial sector is important. Again, reflecting on the country in which we are, it's expensive to have a bank account. It's difficult to have a bank account. FICA documents are required. You regularly need to update them. And as a digital entrepreneur, it's important for you to identify options and opportunities that you can leverage your businesses. What are these? Lessons from Kenya. African entrepreneurs, they use M-Pesa. M-Pesa has been available since 2007. Prof. Mtambala referred to EcoCash that's used in Zimbabwe, where people can send money to one another without the need of having a bank account. South Africa is not lagging behind as well. There are others here. Ukeshe is there, that's used here. Spot is there, and there's also Telkom Pay. Mkuru is a different one because the user can send money across and transact across a number of different countries. So these are from the onset opportunities that which mobile payment platforms are already opening up for people who are digital entrepreneurs. I'm in education and I have a passion for education. So this is Baiju. He's from India. He's a billionaire. He has an app that he has used, that he developed and created with a colleague. And this world-class educational app is considered top end, with regarding, regarding tutorials, teaching, and education. And as you'll note here, there are more than 100 million downloads. It's got over 115 million registered students. So whilst he says here, how we make millions fall in love with learning, I would rephrase it and say how we, referring to him, make billions by making people fall in love with education, because he has an insight. He knows what people want. He has managed to leverage technology and ensure that education is at the tip, is on the fingertips. So AI, machine learning, deep learning, here are some of the companies that we know that started from garages. Apple, Google, Hewlett-Packard, Amazon, Microsoft. So these startups, I'm talking to somebody as I'm here, I'm talking to somebody, a digital entrepreneur who's going to identify an opportunity and create something so spectacular. So it is possible. So what also happens with these is that the advent of the fourth industrial revolution and technologies linked to the ones I've just mentioned now has further propelled these companies. The adoption of smarter technology for small businesses can like AI can launch them. AI can be used, for customer service, predictive analytics, and automated data entry. Machine learning can do away with redundant tasks that are linked to accounting, finances, sorting, document processing, and customer relations. I always worry about accounting students, if I may be honest with you, because very soon they're going to be, and there are already very sophisticated accounting packages and softwares. What will it mean for an accountant? But again, as a digital entrepreneur, you're leveraging opportunities as they present themselves. Machine learning and its subfield deep learning are known also in the area of entrepreneurs. And these, propel major breakthroughs in research fields. Big data is important. The Internet of Change is also important. There's a case study from Brazil, which I'll just talk about briefly. So regarding the Internet of Things, it is all about the enhanced business processes and solutions with sensors, devices, gateways, and platforms. By gathering all their data in one place, manufacturers can make intelligent decisions and design more efficient processes. So by definition, one would say, IoT is the analysis of data gathered from connected devices. So these are just devices linked, and then you draw data from there, and you can, infer that data and make very informed decisions. So data can be used to support entrepreneurship in three main ways. To discover startups, that's how you identify where the niche is. That's how you identify a business. To create solutions within a startup if you encounter a problem, as well as to support startups. So in Brazil, in the city of Sao Paulo, there's a program called PitchGov. in which the government partners with small startups, and they may be granted to government data so that they can co-build proposals and partnerships with the government. As you're well aware, the country is experiencing a lot of problems, a lot of challenges. One sure way of dealing with corruption is blockchain technology. So I challenge somebody amongst you, to think of how we can work with the government so that we can roll out, and we can create and work out a feasible form of blockchain technology. Again, it's dependent on buy-in from government. So in the Brazilian case, out of 558 startups that applied to the program, that was in 2017, 22 are already working with government to test solutions. And these are solutions in very critical sectors such as healthcare, education, and housing. And again, if you can actually mirror Brazil and South Africa, we have the same kind of challenges. Inequality is high, crime is high, and there's socio-economic strife in both countries. The blockchain technology that I've just mentioned earlier, it creates a transparent and democratic way to capture exchanges and records, and as well as build applications. If it's combined with AI, this AI blockchain hybrid platform can help new ventures to address challenges that they typically face in the early development stages, managing financial accounting, compliance standards, as well as legal work. Online consulting is also another way in which startups can happen, as a specific form of digital service, which can be described as an exchange of information between at least two parties via digital channels based on natural and or artificial intelligence. Blockchains can also, open an avenue where people can also deal with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoins, as blockchains might provide a new payment options for digital products and services. So what am I saying? I'm saying this in short. To entrepreneurs, financial and digital literacy is critical as it ensures the viability of startups. It's important for oneself to capacitate themselves, to understand what the fourth industrial revolution is, to understand the nature of the business they're interested in, to understand how to identify the gaps, and to understand how to maximize opportunities. We also need support from government, incentives for more companies and policymakers need to establish better consultative processes and to leverage the 4IR. Apologies for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kaziboni, and also a big thank you to Prof. Mutambara. Now, I think we are entering the time for questions, as the information that has been given, I think it's really will elicit a lot of questions. I think one of the things that Prof. Mutambara mentioned was the AGI. Many people, I think, are quite familiar with AI, but AGI is a new concept, and learning how to learn. It's very interesting coming from a prof, trying to really unpack this in the digital world to say, how do we learn how to learn? And also mastering how to think. After learning how to think, then you master how to think. Maybe before we open up, maybe if Prof can just come up and just give a short outline, then I'll give it to Scott. Yeah.
Because of the complexity of the issues involved in the fourth industrial revolution, you got to continuously learn. If you're going to continuously learn, you must learn how to learn. You also need problem-solving skills. You need to be able to think, to master how to think, so you can create solutions. So it's a very brave world where it can be business as usual. You can't memorize and can't have traditional education. We need to revisit the way we teach. We need to revisit the way we learn. Otherwise, we won't be able to leverage the knowledge economy effectively.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. Can we have a few questions from the participants? You can raise your hand I was just checking in the chat. I think there's someone who was asking, how does one access the program for incubation? I think I responded to that. Okay, there's a question from JL. JL, you can come through.
Thanks for unmuting me. So I have a question for Archer, Dr. Archer. Thanks for the presentation. That was quite good and some valuable information there. I'm Joseph from Cape Town, working into the AI space. AI is pretty much my field of expertise, with computer vision to be specific. So I had a question. You spoke about show me your skills in one of your slides, right? Skills is more variable than a simple certificate, but I definitely agree with that on you. But then what is South Africa doing about it? The government and labor law still requires people to have degrees. There's a lot of qualified folks out there, but then, a degree is such a, I feel like it's quite an archaic way of evaluating a person's expertise. Many people, especially in the tech field. So there are people that are very, very proficient in what they do, but then they wouldn't be able to apply because the company would require them to have either masters and whatsoever. So what's your take on that?
The graduates we're producing from our universities are not useful to industry. Why? Because the industry is moving, the industry is driven by technology and so on. We're producing traditional graduates, accountants, engineers, lawyers, who are not useful to industry. So we must ask ourselves, what skills are industry folks looking for? What capabilities are industry folks looking for? And then we change our educational system, we change the way we examine our students so that when they are done with us in the academy, they are useful to industry. And one way of doing that is to make sure that when you have a mechanical engineer, when you have an accountant, when you have a lawyer, you can tell us what they can do. What can this engineer do? Does this engineer, can they design a drone? Can they build a robot? What can they do so that they are useful to the industries that are in this world? So basically, South Africa must look at the educational system and change it so that it's in keeping to the changes in the economy, the changes in the knowledge economy, the changes in the industry. So we need to continuously change. So once you have build a drone or you've built a driverless car, can you use it in South Africa? The law doesn't exist. The law in South Africa is about a human being driving a car. So the law itself must keep up with the technology and continuously move. But right now, the law is very conservative, and hence the law is lagging technology. So education is lagging technology. So that's why we need to really think about capabilities and skills. Yes to the degree, yes to the masters, but let us be very clear in terms of what skills we're giving our products. What capabilities are we giving our products? And are they useful to the demands of industry, to the demands of the fourth industrial revolution?
Yes, maybe a quick second question, Malembe, may I?
Yeah, you may.
Yes. So my follow-up question is more like following about, a bit of what you just mentioned now. For example, you speak about mechatronics, right? Mechatronics, pretty much the robotics field. I see that in South Africa, we producing a lot of student graduates, but the market does not have a demand for that specific field. All the mechatronics folks that I know in the past, they all ended up in heavy current with ESCOM, or some are software engineers unrelated to what they study. So, we can speak about how technology is advancing and all these new innovation and for IR, but as long as the government itself, the system in South Africa does not move along, well, we pretty much never see that point. We'll have a lot of these talks, but then at what point do we see government and technology merging together? That's why, like,
very correct. We need what we call an ecosystem approach. I've gotten you. We need an ecosystem approach where everybody is on board. The policymakers, industry, the academy, the students, all of us must work together in this new way. In particular, the government, because the government creates policy, the government creates framework. So it's important that the government is on board in addition to industry and the academy. Now, the mechatronics, don't start by training mechatronics. Who told you we need mechatronics? Go to industry, ask them what they want. If they tell you the skills and capabilities that they want, then your product will be useful. But if you start with a fancy program, call it mechatronics, and you produce mechatronic engineers who are irrelevant, that's the wrong sequencing. So start with the needs of industry and then sharpen and train your program to achieve the requirements and demands of industry. Yes, the government is very critical because they're the policymakers for everything.
Thank you, Prof. And thank you, JL. I think Prof has summed it up. Start by identifying the need, then come with a solution. Any other question? Dr.
Malembe,
Scott?
there are a couple of questions in the chat, Malembe.
Okay, can you come up with them, Daniel, please?
Okay, all right. Yes, there a question from Martin. So Martin is saying that quite often we talk about entrepreneurs, they have great ideas, but they've not paid enough attention to the market needs. So do you also agree that having a commercially viable product or service needs to start with identifying the real market need or problem? That way, then you have a product that fits to the market.
Martin, thanks. It's a great question. So when you look at a commercially viable product, which would be the last thing you raise, you are saying that there's a demand for it. You're saying that people are willing to pay money for it. And you're saying that it's, in the end, it's lucrative. It's good business to sell that product. And if you then reflect on market needs and demands, what digital entrepreneurs need to prioritize, as I indicated in my presentation, are two key aspects. The first one is that they need to have a keen awareness or keen skills linked to IT. And there's general misconception that entrepreneurship is just anyone trying to do a business. We need to understand that not everyone can be a businessman. And just because you think and feel that you can, be entrepreneurial doesn't mean that you're going to succeed. So there is conventional basic business knowledge that one needs. And IT plus that knowledge will enable one to see what's commercially viable. Martin, I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Let me come in there. Let's not overplay the importance of the market. The market is important, but it's not everything. When we're using horses for transport, if you went and asked the people, what do you want us to do for you to move from point A to point B? They will say, give us a faster horse. If the horses are not fast enough, bring us a faster horse, breed a faster horse. They'll never say, go and create a car. So sometimes you create a product and the product will create a market on its own. If we go back 10 years ago and ask people, what do you want to communicate and share information? No one's going to say, give us WhatsApp, give us Twitter, give us Facebook, because they don't know. So this notion of the market is king is okay, but sometimes the market needs some insights. And sometimes when you build a product which is brand new, to create its own market. So yes to the market and understanding the market, but also let us be creative. Once you have a new product, like the metaverse, you find that you say, I can't live without the metaverse. I can't live without my cell phone. But 10 years ago, 20 years ago, no one would have said, please, can you discover a cell phone? I want to talk while I'm walking. No one would have said that. But right now, if we take away your phone, you're completely naked. So yes to the market, but let us also bring new things to the market.
I like your answer, Prof. Thanks.
Thanks, Prof. And thanks, Dr. Anthony. I think there's Kechi on the line that I think she wants an answer. Kechi, can you just reiterate your question, please?
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I was just looking for information on incubators that can help with attaining a remote pilot license for small businesses. So I'm a woman-owned small business, and I'd like to attain my drone pilot license to enable or to better service my customers in the manufacturing industry, in the ports, rail, marine, and manufacturing industries with drone technology.
Wonderful question, Kechi. We've got a drone academy supported by SIDA in Mpumalanga, in I think close to Evander area. We can give you the addresses. You can. I'll put my name on the chat, but I think I've given already my name on the chat. You can contact me. I will link you with that 4IR incubator, which is a drone academy, and it's also doing licensing.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Thanks, Kechi. Thank you very much. Then I've got other questions on the chat. Somebody is asking, with SIDA being a developmental agency, how does it support entrepreneurs to new entrepreneurial opportunities linked to 4IR? SIDA is supporting quite a number of 4IR incubators or digital hubs. It depends in which area are you in the 4IR, whether you're in the gaming, whether you're in robotics, whether you are in drones, whether in gaming. You just need to explain to that, then we will be able to direct you to a relevant digital hub where you can also be assisted and become an incubatee. You'll receive all the support you need in terms of 4IR, because as Prof has said, and also Anthony has mentioned, that 4IR is very broad. 4IR is very broad. If you just say 4IR, you are talking about many, many things. So you need to be a little bit specific to get quick assistance. Another question also on the chat, it was saying, does SIDA support platform entrepreneurs doing training around technology solutions? Support platform entrepreneurs. Yes, as I said earlier on, we support these entrepreneurs through the digital hubs that we have nationally. You just have to tell us where you are in the country. If you are in the Gauteng, we've got a few in the Gauteng. If you're in Mpumalanga, if you're in the Western Cape, we can just link you up closer to that. If you are in a Free State, you can link you up with a digital hub in Botshabelo. So you just need to explain to us where you are based so that we link you up with the closest digital hub in the area. The third one, does SIDA support innovative business whom are developing digital solutions, including 4IR related solutions? Absolutely. SIDA supports all entrepreneurs, irrespective of their field of expertise, irrespective of the sector. We support all SMMEs without any exception. Thank you very much. Let me see if we still have got other. You can also raise up your hand. Otherwise, I'll ask Dr. Scott to come in. Dr. Scott, are you ready?
Yes, no, more than happy to jump in over here.
Jump in, Dr. Scott.
So let me just give a quick introduction to myself. My name is Dr. Scott Timke, and once upon a time, I used to be an academic at the University of the West Indies as an assistant professor there. And the type of work I do is around the sociology of business, trying to understand markets and marketplaces and how these are designed. Right now, I am a policy analyst looking at platform governance at Research ICT Africa. We're based in the Workshop 17 Tech Hub down in Cape Town. So if any one of you are around this cluster, please come talk to me. I'm one of these guys that does the policy influencing work to try create the regulatory space so that you guys can, create robust, durable businesses. One of the things that we're going to do here today is I'm going to ask our fantastic speakers some probing questions, and then also please fill in some questions in the chat. The questions in the chat I will then convey to our panelists. And remember, they are experts in the area. So if you want to push back or test their knowledge a little bit, please do so. I'm sure they'll be able to really take some robust questioning and the like. I'm going to turn to Anthony first and foremost, and I have a question around business intelligence. We spoke a little bit about data analytics and how ingrained these things are becoming throughout the entire business process. And so I'd like to hear your perspective on how critical business intelligence happens to be at the early stages of an enterprise's development. When do you think people should start to invest in these types of self-assessments? Is there a moment where these things are too soon to implement? Or at what time is it appropriate to think about self-diagnosis of your own inventories, suppliers, customers, and the like?
Thanks, Scott. We share something. I'm also a sociologist by training. So with regards to startups, business intelligence is extremely important. One needs to understand, procedures, infrastructure, and it's infrastructure that collects, stores, and analyzes data for better informed decision making. And if I'm to be advising a digital entrepreneur, this is something you need from the onset. As I've spoken about what somebody needs to be a good entrepreneur, a good digital entrepreneur, it's IT skills and also basic business knowledge, and business intelligence will be helpful if one is going to survive, let alone thrive in an era of 4IR related technology, because you do need the necessary skills and softwares to help you understand complicated data. I think from my end, it's from the onset and through the business cycle. You need it.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And one of the things I would always say when we think about practical skill sets is that there are a number of open source technologies that businesses and entrepreneurs can use. It doesn't have to be something that's very expensive. Even sort of product set is very helpful with business intelligence. Sort of, I want to turn now and Prof, I want to probe you a little bit. One of the things I really liked in your talk was thinking, extra nationally. We think about, going beyond borders. We think about, the ability for data to move across borders fairly easily. I mean, there are questions around jurisdictions and data sovereignty, and these things are still being worked out. But the one thing that I think you're prompting us to do is think beyond South Africa. We may be entrepreneurs based in Johannesburg or Pretoria or Cape Town or Bloemfontein or where we were based, but our customers are across the continent. So with that in mind, I would like you to maybe sort of speculate a little bit, maybe paint us a vision of how the African Continental Free Trade Agreement will be able to really create opportunities for some young, vibrant, excited entrepreneurs. Do you have any thoughts about how we can maximize this opportunity?
First and foremost, when we say go beyond South Africa, it's more than economics, more than business. Why? Because these borders are not our borders. The borders are colonial borders that came in from 1884 at the Berlin Conference. And to find that within the different countries that people of the same tradition and same origin who are divided by an artificial border. So the borders are immoral, starting point. But more importantly, economics. When you look at the Chinese story, Chinese success, yes, they run a command economy. Yes, they are technologists and technocrats. But one of the major drivers of the Chinese economy and the Indian economy is numbers, size of market, size of resource base, size of skills. So when you say 1.4 billion Africans working together, that's a huge market for whatever little product you got. It's also a huge human capital base. It's also a huge source of natural resources. Think about diamonds. If we had to put Botswana, Zimbabwe, Angola, South Africa, and DRC together, would dominate diamonds as an industry. And diamond, beneficiation and so on, because we get the economies of scale. You can say the same thing about oil, about gold. So moving beyond the borders of South Africa makes sense economically because scale. But more importantly, under technology, now we're saying, why don't we learn across borders, share best practice, share ideas? And once we do the product in Malawi, it is a market of SADC. Once we do the product in Nigeria, it is a market in ECOWAS, in a market in Africa. The African Free Continental Trade Area is a very good potential possibility because we are unifying and we're coming together economically. But we need to do more than the African Free Continental Trade Area. We need to also politically unite. We need to also harmonize our economies so that the Africa Free Continental Trade Area is effective. But it's a very good project, but the political will is missing. I'll give you an example. Where have you ever seen a minister of finance go to cabinet or go to parliament and say, as agreed with SADC, we're going to do the following. As agreed with the AU, every minister of finance presents a national budget, national priorities, national vision, be it South Africa, be it Nigeria, be it Uganda, be it Zimbabwe. So the political leaders pay lip service to the African Continental Free Trade Area. We need more than that. We need political will, but it's not cheap. There's no such thing as a free lunch. If you're going to embrace Africa, if you're going to embrace SADC, you must give up on some elements of national sovereignty, some elements of national and think regional. Give up national and think continental. You must be able to say, I'm an African first, a citizen of SADC second, South African third. I'm not sure how many South Africans are prepared to put them number 3, but that's what you have to do if you're going to be effective in terms of unlocking technology in a regional way, technology in a continental way, and have economies of scale and have best practices across the continent.
So, Prof, that's something that I think is a wonderful set of sentiments. We need to have visions not only politically and in the business sense in our personal lives about what can be transformed. I think this sort of harkens back to some of the points that you made in your talk, where even if you were saying like not foster horses, an entirely new product line, one has to have an imaginative capacity to envision oneself in a different place. There's a kind of African cosmopolitanism there that I think sort of we as South Africans, we need to definitely try double down on. That's something I think, at least from the from this perspective in Cape Town, we're not as good at that we should be. Anthony?
And also let's emphasize, it's not charity. When you go regional, when you go continental, it's not charity. You make more money. You have better business if you think beyond South Africa. So we don't want to preach it like we must unite because it's not a nice to have. It's business. MTN makes money in Nigeria, more money in Nigeria than in South Africa. So expanding to Nigeria is good business for MTN, but it's also good for the other thing. So for the entrepreneur in the house, we are not asking you to be a do-gooder. We're asking you to unlock economies of scale across the continent. We're asking you to do well by doing good. When you integrate Africa, you're doing good in terms of the politics and so on, but actually you're going to do well. You're going to make more money. It's about business, it's about economics, it's about profit.
Anthony, I want to pivot to you, and I want to pick up upon something that you alluded to in your talk, which is about questions of education and numeracy and statistical literacy. If we had to think about some core skills that we need in order to spot opportunities, because that's one of the key elements of the session, is to spot opportunities. If an entrepreneur is lacking in statistical literacy or financial literacy, they can certainly go purchase and rent an accountant. They can go employ an accountant. But to what extent do you think that they themselves need to have these skills so that they can ensure that the products that they have good oversight capacity? I mean, I think if we're thinking about core skills, you talk about digital literacy, and would you say that financial literacy is part of that skill set that one needs to have?
Indeed so. One needs not advanced, but basic financial literacy. One needs to be able to see whether or not they're making a profit or a loss. One needs to be able to understand the books that are provided to, that they receive from their accountant or from their auditor. One needs to understand that. So it's indeed it is important to get basic understanding of business statistics. It's very important. You need it for your business to survive. And again, if it's going to thrive, you need it.
And I suppose that underscores your point.
There's no bridge to that, Scott. There's no bridge to that. As an entrepreneur, you need financial literacy. You need entrepreneurial skills. You need to understand technology.
Yeah.
It's a question of the extent to which you master the skills, but you can't survive effectively as an entrepreneur without financial literacy, without entrepreneurial skills, without technology knowledge. This is why when we teach, we must make sure in our different courses, we empower every student with financial literacy. We empower every student with entrepreneurial skills. We empower every student with ICT skills. Every one of them, irrespective of degree.
No, exactly. I think that's a wonderful sentiment. Prof, I want to ask you another sort of question over here. You spoke, I think, quite well about the need to have a diversity of skill sets, the biologists, the lawyers, and the accounting, all of these types of things. And that's, I think, very few people disagree with that, right? We understand that our societies are changing massive transformations, and one needs to be adaptable and agile to meet those challenges. The one thing I'd like to ask you, though, is how important is a diversity of experiences? How important is having a diversity of experiences of different marketplaces, of different products, of different ways of thinking, living, doing business, so that you can leverage that for the opportunities that come your way?
Let me start by saying the need for a Renaissance man and a Renaissance woman sounds commonsensical, but it's not that common. Look at the way our educational policy, look at the way we organize our industries. We're operating in silos. You go to university to become a lawyer. That's all you do. You go to university to do literature, English, that's all you do. So it sounds commonsensical when you think about it. But the way we actually organize higher education, the way we organize industry, the way we organize civil society is very siloed. So we need to make sure we walk the talk of the common sense by making sure that we embrace the approach of a multidisciplinary ecosystem, but it's not common sense. The way we operate is not. Now, what we need to do is to, beyond just the education, I think it's important to get diverse experiences and diverse exposure. The more, the merrier. We call it cultural intelligence. You go into telecoms, you go into finance, you go into mining, you go into education, you go into agriculture. The broader the exposure, the better the entrepreneurial skills, because all these sectors are interconnected anyway and affect each other. So I think it's important that in addition to acquiring diverse skills, we must have diverse exposure to various experiences in various industries. But the government, the law, and society must also move with this agenda.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, guys. I have one last question, because we're sort of cognizant of time. And so in asking my question, I'll start with Anthony, and then we'll finish with you, Prof. And then at the same time, maybe you can offer some final concluding thoughts, or one or two things that you really want to underscore from the talk, or even sort of like envisionings of what you would like entrepreneurship to be in a decade ahead. And so my question involves waves of disruption. We've seen waves of disruption, new products, new services, new ways of doing business, rechanging the landscape, right? Yeah, I think Prof, you used the example of the cell phone changing the way that we conduct both everyday life and business. Now everything, well, not everything, but most things are done via apps, and these things are at our fingertips. One of the things that entrepreneurs, how vital is it for entrepreneurs to think not only necessarily about products and not only about trying to create markets, but also trying to create marketplaces? Anthony spoke very well about trying to create the market. You create the product and then you bring people to it. You revolutionize the landscape. How important is also creating marketplaces so that entrepreneurs can come and find like-minded people to trade with? And so the question I have for you is, how good is South Africa at the moment in building marketplaces? And how can digital entrepreneurs help to build marketplaces that are robust, resilient, sustainable, and sort of future-proof to the extent that we recognize that there's a lot of disruption around us? Thank you.
Let me go first then and also give my concluding remarks. I think the starting point for the entrepreneur is to say, what worked yesterday won't work today. What's working today won't work tomorrow. If you keep that in mind, you go very far. Secondly, continuous education. If you stop learning, you become dysfunctional. Continuous education is important because technology is moving and changing all the time. So you must have a systematic and structured way of always learning and having lifelong learning. Find a mechanism, find a way to ensure that you are continuously learning. Can you imagine a PhD from MIT, the top engineering school in the world, from 1995? If I were to lock them in a room in 1995 and bring them out today and say, Mr. MIT PhD, can you Google? Can you tweet? Can you go on WhatsApp? They will, what is all that? And then they got a PhD in computer science from MIT. So if they stopped learning from 1995, they will be completely obsolete, completely moribund in the year 2022. So the entrepreneur must have the appetite for continuous education because technology and business models and economies are changing. Now, in terms of governments must also be on the watch to change policies, to change laws to enable technology, laws to enable creativity and innovation. Without a continuous change of the laws and policies, again, we won't go very far. South Africa is very slow in changing laws. South Africa is very lethargic, but it's expected of governments. It's expected of law and lawyers. Law is very conservative by definition, but a conservative law system does not promote entrepreneurship, does not promote the knowledge economy. So it's important that we have what we call an ecosystem approach. The government is playing its role, the academy is playing its role, industry is playing its role. But all these things must be understood between the context of traditional issues. We must govern our countries correctly. We must be democratic. We must not be corrupt. We must be united. Because sometimes people get carried away with innovation and technology, they forget the basics. In a corrupt society, technology won't work. Where there's no democracy, you can't have entrepreneurship, it's meaningless. So I want to emphasize that let's embrace the agenda of technology. Don't forget the basics. Don't forget business ethics. Let's not forget finance and hard work. Hard work, good old-fashioned hard work is too important. But I want to conclude by saying that the sky is the limit. And for the young people who are listening to this program, I would want to say, go out there and become the change you seek to see in the world. Don't listen to these old people who tell you that you are the future leaders of the future. No, go and lead today. Reject that notion that says you are a future leader. You are a leader of today. Using technology, you can do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Prof. Mtambara, thanks for your comments. Very enlightening. I liked your close. Corruption, poor governance, and maladministration are a problem. And we need to leverage technology in order to solve some of those issues. Regarding marketplaces and what Scott indicated, in the mid to late 90s, possibly until the mid 2000s, the most popular phone was a Nokia phone. Nokia failed to anticipate changes in people's preferences. And that's when Steve Jobs came with Apple's iPhone. the first phone that was fully touched and with one center button. And from then on, things changed and Nokia hasn't been able to come forth. So as Prof alluded to, we need to have people who are innovative, entrepreneurs who are innovative, who can anticipate people's desires, needs, wants, and lifestyles. So before we start thinking about getting the biggest and strongest horse, let's think about how we can make a better car. How we can make a car. From the car, we then see whether or not cars would need drivers, because we're now interrogating and planning how we can have autonomous vehicles. So that's where we're headed. As a continent, South Africa stands to benefit more from the continent. Again, as what Prof has indicated, a population of 1.2 billion, a market size of 2.3 trillion. So there is much we can do, and there are already platforms that can allow us to trade internationally. I think from my end, I will stop there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony, with those last words, but I'm going to hold you to it. In your presentation, you mentioned that we can fight successfully and defeat this corruption monster by using blockchain. I think in the next series of these sessions, you'll have to unpack that. And even if the government doesn't buy into it, we are prepared to buy into it and we'll make it a success. Having said that, thank you very much, everyone. We have once again had a very informative and practically useful event. I'd like to thank the speakers, Professor Arthur Mutambara, the knowledge tank, the think tank that we had today. I think the listeners have enjoyed listening to you because of the depth of your knowledge in terms of the technology and where we are going with this new 4IR, in this new 4IR journey. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank the EU, European Union, for having sponsored this event. And also EU is one of our partners, is partnering with SIDA, funding some of our digital hubs in the country. And we hope that in future, they will still partner with us and to develop and opening more digital hubs in the country. Thank you very much to the EU colleagues. Carla, I think without you, I think this event wouldn't have been successful. But thank you to also the EDSE colleagues. I think Daniel and also Martin Feinstein. I think they're on the chat. I mean, in the room. Thank you very much. We have a survey link on the chat. Please, participants, before you leave, just click on that survey link and please rate the session. And I must also add to say, we have requested Dr. Arthur Mutambara and Prof and Dr. Kaziboni that this is not the last session. I think as I've made a challenge to Dr. Kaziboni about fighting this corruption monster, which is actually an epidemic for the whole world. It's not only South Africa, it's not for Africa, it's a world issue, using the blockchain and the big data and see how we can take advantage of using that. And I think there's quite a number of colleagues who were very interested in the topics. They feel free to contact us at SIDA. My email address is m20@sida.org.za. Please send your inputs to there, what type of topics you'd like to have in the future. But I promise you, before end of January, we'll have another MADE series. MADE stands for Market Access for Digital Entrepreneurs. With those few words, thank you, everyone. And the recordings will be shared. I'm not sure of the presentation, but we'll also confirm that with the speakers. I don't just want to put them on the spot now. If they allow, those will also be shared. But yeah, if we don't chat again, have a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2023. With those words, I think we've come to the end of our session, our May session, which is a series of many to come. We look forward to the new year 2023. I think if Carla, my colleague, will just, maybe I'll give her a word to say what are we planning to do in the next new year. Carla, are you able to just share with us a word or two in terms of what's coming in the new year?
Yes, of course, gladly so and happily so. We will have the first event on the 26th of January, and our debut for the new year is going to be on market research that is affordable. It will help everybody with a how-to guide on market research. Then we have planned session on e-mobility 2 weeks afterwards. Big tech support for new businesses or for small businesses is another session we've planned, and then probably some sessions on metaverse, augmented reality and virtual reality. So we can't wait to see you next year.
Thank you very much, and once again, thank you, Prof, for your time, and everyone. Thank you, Daniel Chiwandamara. Thank you, EDSE, and my colleagues from CEDA. Thank you. And with those words, adios.
The University of Johannesburg, the future reimagined.